Ukraine is pressing through with its counteroffensive on the eastern front line. Ukrainian troops fired artillery shells as infantry soldiers attacked Russian bunkers. Intense fighting continues around the eastern city of Bakhmut. Life remains normal in Moscow after the Wagner group stopped its rebellion against the Russian government. On Saturday, Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin and his fighters mutinied against the Russian government. Wagner convoys were headed towards Moscow when a deal was struck. Under the agreement, the Wagner chief along with his troops will be given residence in Belarus. The deal was brokered by Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko. The Australian government has announced a military aid package worth $74 million for Ukraine. This will include armoured vehicles, trucks and ammunition. Australia will also give Ukraine duty-free access to its markets for the next 12 months. This will be done to support and boost Ukraine's economy. Russian fighter jets dropped bombs on a market in the northwestern Syrian city of Idlib. At least 9 people were killed and over 30 were injured in the airstrikes. Russian officials have claimed that they were attacking rebel insurgent groups. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has returned from Egypt. On Sunday, PM Modi met Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. The two leaders signed a joint declaration to upgrade bilateral relations. Egypt also conferred the Indian Prime Minister with the Order of Nile Award. Order of Nile is Egypt's highest state honor. Chinese Foreign Minister Qin Gang met his Sri Lankan counterpart in Beijing on Sunday. Qin vowed to provide Sri Lanka with economic assistance for social development projects. Sri Lanka reaffirmed its support for the One China policy. Vietnam's Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh has begun his first visit to China on Sunday. He was invited by Chinese Premier Li Qiang. This is the first official visit by a Vietnamese Prime Minister to China in 7 years. China remains Vietnam's largest trading partner. Over 1,500 people protested outside NATO's Ramstein Air Base in Germany. They called for peace and demanded the withdrawal of the US military from German bases. Currently, over 15,000 US military personnel serve in Ramstein. The Ramstein Air Base is the largest US military base overseas. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis' party won the general elections on Sunday. Mitsotakis' Conservative Party won with a landslide margin. He will now serve as the Greek Prime Minister for another 4 years. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau will meet the Nordic Prime Ministers in Iceland on Monday. He will also discuss the situation in Ukraine with his Nordic counterparts. Canada will also pledge assistance for climate threat to Nordic countries. The Nordic countries are Denmark, Norway, Sweden, Finland and Iceland. Meanwhile, one person was killed and several others were injured in a roller coaster accident in Sweden. The incident happened at Sweden's Grand Lund amusement park in the capital city of Stockholm. Police officials are investigating the accident. The amusement park has been closed until further notice. Polling for the presidential elections closed in the Central American country of Guatemala. Presidential candidates Sandra Torres and Zuri Rios are competing for the presidential seat. If neither candidate secure a majority, a runoff election will be held in August. Voting also ended in the national elections in the West African country of Sierra Leone. A woman was severely wounded after a polling station was attacked. Opposition leader Samura Kamara is contesting against incumbent president Julius Maada Bio. The results will be announced on the 27th of June. Moving to climate, Montreal City has recorded the worst air quality in the world due to smoke from the Canadian wildfires. The Quebec province issued a health advisory as air quality dropped to unhealthy levels. Officials urged the residents of Montreal to stay indoors. Currently, there are over 80 wildfires in Canada's Quebec province. Canada will deploy additional firefighters in Quebec to control the flames. Spain is scorching under severe heat wave. Barcelona residents cooled off at the beach after temperatures crossed 40 degrees Celsius. The Spanish weather agency has estimated the heat wave to last until Wednesday this week. Spain has recorded its hottest spring this year since 1961. The UK is also witnessing a heat wave. Residents in southern England flocked to beaches as temperatures crossed 30 degrees Celsius. Brighton city officials even encourage residents to cool off in the beach waters. Torrential rains have caused floods in China's southern provinces. Firefighters rescued at least 17 people stranded in floods in China's Anhui province. Chinese officials have sounded a flood alert in the southern region through this week. At least 2 people have died in floods in the South American country of Chile. Over 400 homes have been swept away in landslides caused by heavy rainfall. The government has declared a flood emergency in Chile's central regions. The torrential rains come just weeks after Chile witnessed a severe drought. A tornado ripped through buildings in the US state of Indiana. At least 1 person was killed as powerful winds decimated houses. Several others were injured as the twister flung debris of buildings into the air.
I think it's going to miss us.
Hundreds of anti-coal activists marched in Germany's eastern regions. The protesters demanded an early phasing out of coal in order to comply with the Paris Climate Agreement. They also demanded the government to restrict coal mining to 205 million tons by 2038. Moving on to business, the Australian unit of PricewaterhouseCoopers has entered an agreement with private equity firm Allegro Funds. This is to divest the unit's federal and state government business. PwC will sell the businesses to Allegro for $1 Australian or 67 cents. This comes after the auditing giant was accused of leaking confidential government data to corporate clients. Reports say financial giant JP Morgan is trimming its workforce in the US. It will cut nearly 40 investment banking jobs. This will involve employees from all levels of seniority. Last week, the company eliminated about 20 investment banking jobs in Asia. Rating agency S&P Global has cut its China GDP forecast for this year. It now expects the region to grow by 5.2%. This is lower than a previous forecast of 5.5% growth. S&P said, and I quote, "China's recovery should continue, but at an uneven pace, with investment and industry lagging." About a dozen Starbucks employees protested outside the New York's Astor Place store. This is over the company's ban on Pride Month decorations at some of its cafes. Starbucks' union has said that more than 3,000 workers across 150 locations will join the strike over the next week. The strikes are also aimed at pushing the company to contracts for immediate fair labor, improved pay and union benefits. Danish brewing company Carlsberg will sell its Russian business. However, it did not reveal the name of the buyer. The financial details of the transaction have also not been made public. The company has said that it will reveal the details once the deal has been approved. The divestiture is currently subject to regulatory review by Moscow. American technology company IBM is in talks to acquire software company Apptio. The total deal could be valued at around $5 billion. Apptio provides products including cloud-based and hybrid business management software. This could be a possible asset for tech giant IBM. Japanese automaker Honda Motors is recalling 1.3 million vehicles. This is over a potential issue with the rear-view camera image. The recall includes 1.2 million vehicles in the US, 88,000 in Canada, and 16,000 in Mexico. Amazon has said that it plans to invest $26 billion in India by the year 2030. The e-commerce group has invested about $11 billion in the country until now. It plans to pour in another $15 billion in the next 7 years. The company's CEO Andy Jassy said this after his meeting with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi last week. The European Union and Facebook parent Meta will test the EU's content rules in July. The EU industry chief Thierry Breton said in a tweet that about 1,000 Meta employees are working to implement the Digital Services Act. This is after Breton had earlier demanded that the social media giant protect children from harmful content on its platform. Japan's military is testing Elon Musk's Starlink satellite internet service. The country's self-defense forces have been testing the network for their land, sea, and air forces since March. Reports say it is aiming to officially adopt the technology from April next year. Moving on to sports. In cricket, Sri Lanka's Wanindu Hasaranga has become the first one-day international spinner to take 3 consecutive 5-wicket hauls. He is the second bowler overall in history to achieve this feat in ODIs. This happened when Sri Lanka beat Ireland by 133 runs in the World Cup qualifiers. In women's Ashes, Australia set England a target of 268 to win the Test match. Initially, Australia were in command of the match at 145 for the loss of just 1 wicket. However, they soon succumbed to England's left-arm spinner Sophie Eccleston's bowling and slumped to 198 for 7 wickets. England has now more than a day's play to chase the target. In football, Premier League club Chelsea has agreed to sign Villarreal's Nicolas Jackson for over $39 million. The Senegal international is poised to join Chelsea on an 8-year deal. Jackson had been a La Liga sensation last season, scoring 12 goals in his 26 appearances. He had also attracted interest from Aston Villa and Everton, but Chelsea won the race for his signature. India beat Nepal 2-0 to reach the South Asian Football Federation Championship semi-final. The match was played at the Kantirava Stadium in Bengaluru. Indian skipper Sunil Chhetri scored his 91st international goal in the 62nd minute of the match. Naore Mahesh Singh scored the second goal for India in the 70th minute. Alternatively, Kuwait thrashed Pakistan 4-0 in the SAFF Championship. They have now secured their position in the semi-finals of the tournament. With this loss, Pakistan's chances of making it to the semis is all but over. This is after failing to grab a single point in 2 matches. In tennis, Carlos Alcaraz won the Queen's Club title. With this win, Alcaraz has regained the world number 1 position. This was his first ever grass title at Queen's in London. The 20-year-old Spaniard beat Australia's Alex de Minaur 6-4 and 6-4 to claim his 5th title of the season. Yelena Ostapenko claimed the Birmingham Open title on Sunday. She beat fellow French woman Barbora Krejcikova 7-6 and 6-4. Ostapenko's victory has guaranteed her re-entry in the world's top 10 rankings. Kazakhstan's Alexander Bublik has defeated Andrei Rublev to claim the Hali Open title. He beat Rublev 6-3, 3-6 and 6-3. This was the second ATP Tour title for Bublik. He is currently ranked 48th in the world. In golf, India's Diksha Dagar clinched the Tipsport Czech Ladies Open on Sunday. This was the 22-year-old's second Ladies European Tour title. Dagar won her first Ladies European Tour title back in 2019. She has now become the second Indian to win in 2023 after Aditi Ashok won the magical Kenya Ladies earlier this season. In table tennis, Indian women's duo of Sutirtha and Ahika Mukherjee have won this year's WTT Contender Tunis title. The pair beat their Japanese counterparts 3-1 in the final. With this win, they have become the first Indian table tennis players to clinch a WTT Contender title this year. Moving on to entertainment, Amber Heard has made her first appearance after her highly publicized trial against ex-husband Johnny Depp. The actress walked the red carpet at the 69th Taormina Film Festival in Italy. She was attending the premiere of her upcoming film In the Fire. The actress was last seen in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Tom Cruise starrer Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 has premiered in London. Cruise was joined on by the red carpet by his co-stars Simon Pegg, Hayley Atwell and Rebecca Ferguson. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 is the 7th film in the hit franchise. The full movie of DC's The Flash has been leaked on Twitter. The development comes just 1 week into the theatrical run of The Flash. The Super Mario Bros. Movie suffered the same fate of leaking onto Twitter when it released in April. These leaks became possible after Twitter introduced increased video length and file size limits as a perk for Twitter Blue subscribers. Oscars has updated requirement for films to qualify for Best Picture at the 97th Academy Awards. Under the new rules, a film will need to continue its run beyond the current requirement to be eligible to compete for Best Picture. The current requirement requires a 1-week theatrical release in one of the 6 US qualifying cities. The updated rules were approved by the group's 54-member Board of Governors. The TV series Warnie, which delves into the life of the late Australian cricketer Shane Warne, premiered on Sunday. However, the first episode has received significant backlash on social media. The backlash comes because of a few scenes concerning his relationship with British actress Elizabeth Hurley. Warne died of a heart attack in March 2022 while vacationing in Thailand with his friends. Rapper Young Thug has released his new album from US's Fulton County. Thug has been imprisoned in the Fulton County jail for over a year. The album, Business is Business, was released on the 23rd of June at midnight. It contains 15 tracks and features from Drake, Lil Gotti, Lil Uzi Vert, 21 Savage and others. Quavo and Offset teamed up for a Migos reunion at the BET Awards, and it was an emotional comeback. The rappers took the stage at the Microsoft Theatre in Los Angeles on Sunday. They paid tribute to their former bandmate Takeoff, who died in November. Sunday night marked the first time the two performed together since Takeoff's death. The Directors Guild of America voted to ratify a new 3-year labor contract with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The new contract secures wage increases, residuals, and conditions on artificial intelligence. The DGA noted its 41% turnout rate out of over 16,000 eligible voters was its highest yet for a ratification vote. Solange Dekker of the Netherlands has claimed the title of Miss International Queen 2023. The Netherlands made history by emerging victorious over 22 contestants, claiming the crown for the first time. Following closely behind, Singapore and the United States secured 2nd and 3rd place respectively in the competition. And finally, hikers have found human remains at a site where British actor Julian Sands went missing. Sands went missing 5 months ago on Southern California's Mount Baldy. Authorities said that the 65-year-old actor was reported missing in January. He'd gone hiking in the Baldy Ball area of the San Gabriel Mountains. Sands moved to California in the 1980s to pursue a Hollywood career after the success of the 1985 film A Room with a View.